She's April 3rd, 2020 today. I got my notes. Chicken scratch printing, that's a story in itself. I'll tell you about that someday. COVID-19 update. Over 1 million cases worldwide, and US has hit 275K. The only country that I see that's really doing well is South Korea. They've got like 6,000 total recovered and 4,000 active cases, so they're the only ones that have got strong numbers for improvement. Anyway, back to Shutdown. I started writing about 5 years ago, 2015 or so. I'd always kind of written stuff down in St. John, all your hockey buddies and stuff, and a lot of good times, and so many stories that I started creating a database of stories that I wanted to tell at some point. I had no idea at the time that I would be writing movie scripts or anything like that, but I've got a shitload of these stories, and hopefully I can write long enough to get a lot of them incorporated into some works. But anyway, at that time, like 2014 or 15, I decided I would go out west to work, and I would be isolated, and in my off time I would have nothing to do but write. So that's where I got started, and that's where I came up with the idea for Shutdown. Now, I didn't last too long out west because shitty timing. That's when the oil prices just plummeted and a lot of the work dried up. When I first got to Fort McMurray, it was so busy. Like, the buses were just non-stop. Crazy. People, the trucks that people drive, all jacked up, and people have their toys, and it was nuts. That Highway 63 up and down there is a little bit of a scary thing, but things have changed so much. And of course, I'm supposed to be out there working right now, but everything's shut down, so I'm stuck here at the house. My daughter Marley, her school got canceled for the year 2 days ago, so at least I'm home and trying to get her to read and all that stuff. Now, when I came up with the idea for Shutdown, and I told you the cut line, and it's basically a bunch of hockey buddies and clowns and characters, and they go out west and they get into all sorts of scrapes and stuff, and on-site and off-site. And I never wrote it with a political agenda, pro-oil versus anti-oil or anything like that. It was just merely a great compilation of funny and real stories, shit that really goes on. So I never even thought of a target market for who this would be fun to read or watch or anything like that, but it's a fluke that I guess in independent films, like, you need to go after a target niche market it's going to be appealed to by that your film is going to appeal to that group of people. And just a fluke, but I have a massive, huge niche target market for my film Shutdown. Really, not since 1979, The China Syndrome with Jack Lemmon, Michael Douglas, Jane Fonda, which is set in a nuclear facility, and they realized that the welding inspections and the radiography inspections have been tampered with and falsely reported, and the whole nuclear facility is jeopardized, and she's going to blow down to China. nobody's really broached the subject matter of inspections, weld inspections, or anything like that since. So that's 40 years ago, and it's relatively untapped content. I mean, Chernobyl came out, and I've only watched 2 of those episodes on the plane, and it's unbelievable. And it goes after the radiography aspect of that, so that's good. But largely, so my target market, essentially, is all tradespeople, not just welding inspectors, tradespeople, scaffolders, pipe fitters, boiler makers, electricians, anybody that works inside industrial environments, mills, refineries, anybody that does that, which is big. Now, as I mentioned, I've submitted my trademark application for Shutdown because for my own business reasons, but this is pretty crazy. Like, they're referring to all this COVID stuff and shutting down, shut down. So I really think this has an opportunity, I guess, to kind of broaden my target market. And I don't want to sound greedy in this crazy time or anything like that, but it's a fluke, and I intend to make this film regardless. It's called Shutdown. I've copyrighted it, and hopefully my trademark goes through. But anyway, I wrote and picked away at it for a couple years, and finally I thought I had something, and it was all handwritten shit, and then I typed it out in what I thought was like an agreeable format. I didn't know about screenwriting software or anything at that time. Now, I acted back in 2006 in this hockey movie, Canada-Russia 72. It's actually a 2-part CBC miniseries. And a guy I played hockey with at St. Mary's, his nickname is Muffy, and he's actually an actor based out of Toronto. And we were line mates there for a year at SMU. And he played John Ferguson, like a principal role in Canada-Russia 72. I played Karlamov, the Russian star, which was a principal role too. And the only reason I landed that, because I didn't have any acting experience, was because I could pull off all the hockey stuff. And but I had a few lines and all that. Anyway, I took my script to Toronto. My wife had business there, so I hooked up with Muffy, and I gave him my script. And we sat down, and he's like, okay, this is, in a properly formatted script, a page is equal to a minute of time. So like a 90-page script is 90 minutes, which is like an average feature film. You got to use software, screenwriting software, so all your margins and fonts and all that shit's correct and stuff. If somebody reads this, this is amateur. And you got to have plot points. Like at page 28, you should have a major plot point, and within your first 10 pages, like, you have to have the reader hooked and all this stuff. And I was just blown away by all that stuff. And I just snatched my script back and said, man, you can't look at this yet. I didn't know all that stuff. So it was rewrite after rewrite after rewrite and rewrite. And then finally I had something basic that I was on a shutdown at the Irving refinery in St. John, and I selected various people to read it and see what kind of reaction it was. And it was inspectors, there was superintendents that I gave it to. The first person that read it was a lady that worked in a desk next to me, and she proofread it for me and stuff and really helped me out.